Yeah. Cold shit. I ain't come with goons, but I'm well connected. Walk in the room, it's pop, 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 like you got rejected. Let me see if you qualify or not. Spinning up in a tinted truck, riding around your block. Busy man. I get a word, he ain't this shit from top to bottom like a motherfucking ceiling fan. Hopping out the rental van, on my way to LAX. Brothers out in Cali and they killers out of every set. But I ain't tripping on no blood. One West, all my niggas got it out the mud. Put your face on a t-shirt, memory of niggas acting tough on them songs, that's the drugs. I don't need no cases, all my pistols clean. So now I weigh my options, used to use the triple beam. Used to get the wop, mix it with the nicotine. Now I travel state to state and put on for my team.
The fuck wrong with them? Ain't on my level, I should let my dog get them. I see niggas and they feelings, I don't feel them. Keep the Glockin' with me, it was like a ball with me. At the end, I gotta stay patient. They hate me, Lord, I gotta stay dangerous. You one of them? Yeah. What's the problem? I'm one West, go to war with everybody. Cut the grass for the snakes, fuck the gossip. Front line with them soldiers, that's my posture. Gun drawn, trying to cause an imposter. Shit get out the pocket, go to war with everybody, yeah. Shit that hate, make it to the featherweights. Niggas claim they hard, but they sweeter than a dedication. Hold on, think it's time to introduce. I'm a man and a beast and a stepper and a ruler. Hold on, and a G and a soldier and a mover. Hold on, and a killer and a prophet and a shooter, nigga. Trying to stay humble, my shit crazy. Cold leader, need the blue stripes, no brick baby. Can't be serious, you a funny boy, young fly. Look wrong, must be a dummy, I ain't gun shy. Fuck that little bitch, she a hook. Nigga swear he the go, bring him to the bush. The fuck wrong with him? Ain't on my level, I should let my dog get him. Niggas in their feelings, I don't feel them. Kid the Glockin' with me, it was like a ball with him. At the end, gotta stay patient. They hate me, Lord, I gotta stay patient. You one of them? What's the problem? I'm one West, go to war with everybody.
I'm from Philly, it get hot, you catch a cold case. I'm one West, these brothers trying to set my soul straight. They done turned me to a prophet from a demon, and I'm locked in this shit and I ain't leaving. Never. Ski mask transform to war mode like I'm Voltron. Stamp on my head and my chest from the most high. Put something tight around your neck like a bow tie. Got my niggas waiting charged up like they phone died.
Red letter, drip clean, it looks so fly. Claim he riding, that's why I left his ass roadside. He gon' die, skyscraper to a nosedive. 9mm plus P, fuck a 4-5. The fuck wrong with him? Ain't on my level, I should let my dog get him. I see niggas and they feelings, I don't feel them. Keep the Glockin' with me, it was like a ball with me. At the end, I gotta stay patient. They hate me, Lord, I gotta stay dangerous. You one of them? Yeah. What's the problem? I'm one West, go to war with everybody.
Yeah. Cold shit. I ain't come with goons, but I'm well connected. Walk in the room, it's pop, 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 like you got rejected. Let me see if you qualify or not. Spinning up in a tinted truck, riding around your block. Busy man. I get a word, he ain't this shit from top to bottom like a motherfucking ceiling fan. Hopping out the rental van, on my way to LAX. Brothers out in Cali and they killers out of every set. But I ain't tripping on no blood. One West, all my niggas got it out the mud. Put your face on a t-shirt, memory of niggas acting tough on them songs, that's the drugs. I don't need no cases, all my pistols clean. So now I weigh my options, used to use the triple beam. Used to get the wop, mix it with the nicotine. Now I travel state to state and put on for my team.
The fuck wrong with them? Ain't on my level, I should let my dog get them. I see niggas and they feelings, I don't feel them. Keep the Glockin' with me, it was like a ball with me. At the end, I gotta stay patient. They hate me, Lord, I gotta stay dangerous. You one of them? Yeah. What's the problem? I'm one West, go to war with everybody. Cut the grass for the snakes, fuck the gossip. Front line with them soldiers, that's my posture. Gun drawn, trying to cause an imposter. Shit get out the pocket, go to war with everybody, yeah. Shit that hate, make it to the featherweights. Niggas claim they hard, but they sweeter than a dedication. Hold on, think it's time to introduce. I'm a man and a beast and a stepper and a ruler. Hold on, and a G and a soldier and a mover. Hold on, and a killer and a prophet and a shooter, nigga. is you a funny boy, young fly. Look wrong, must be a dummy, I ain't gun shy. Fuck that little bitch, she a hook. Nigga swear he to go, bring him to the bush. To the bush. The fuck wrong with him? Ain't on my level, I should let my dog get him. Niggas in their feelings, I don't feel them. Kid the Glocky with me, it was like a ball with him. Be at the end, gotta stay patient. They hate me, Lord, I gotta stay patient. You one of them? What's the problem? From World West, go to war with everybody.
I'm from Philly, it get hot, you catch a cold case. I'm one with these brothers trying to set my soul straight. They done turned me to a prophet from a demon, and I'm locked in this shit and I ain't leaving. Never. Ski mask transform to war mode like I'm Voltron. Stamp on my head and my chest from the most high. Put something tight around your neck like a bow tie. Got my niggas waiting charged up like they phone died.
Red letter, drip clean, it looks so fly. Claim he riding, that's why I left his ass roadside. He gon' die, skyscraper to a nosedive. 9mm plus B, fuck a 4-5. The fuck wrong with him? Ain't on my level, I should let my dog get him. I see niggas in their feelings, I don't feel them. Kid the Glocky with me, it was like a ball with him. Be at the end, I gotta stay patient. They hate me, Lord, I gotta stay patient. You one of them? Yeah. What's the problem? I'm World West, go to war with everybody.
They said your suffering was your fault. That's what they said. So I'll take it. They said your suffering is your fault. They counted their suffering a real suffering. But they didn't count our suffering a real suffering. And that's 400 years of propaganda. That's 400 years of brainwashing. Oh yeah, this is in here?
Just for me to find peace. Fuck the police, they got the mark of the beast. I'm a 1-2-5, you could see me in the streets. Seen a nigga teach she fell in love with a priest. In a rush for the bread like we ain't got yeast. Putting studs on my garment, now I'm late to the feast. I'm a 1 West nigga, you could check the receipts. Ask me where I'm from, so we came from the beach.
This is my shit I was exposed to.
So man, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram. It's not TV, man. Not my motherfucking box, man. He doing, he dropping the most exclusive content that brothers all across the earth will hear, man. Not TV, man. You ain't subscribed, you ain't a real man.
Stay a couple of days, move in with a family friend. Promises for the first to pay you back on the third. Search for another house, they put our shit on the curb. Never uttered a word.
TV, nigga, we watch not TV around this house.
There, my pops is a rolling stone. None was ever given. They say you get what you
with my brother, man.
What I went through.
Listen, one and only. If I could, you tell the people who you are, where you from?
Khan, I am Officer Yashikar Ban Yashikar.
I'm a 1-2-5, you could see me in the streets. Seen a nigga teach she fell in love with a priest. In a rush for the bread like we ain't got yeast. Putting studs on my garment, now I'm late to the feast. I'm a 1 West nigga, you could check the receipts. Ask me where I'm from, so we came from the east.
Where you from?
I'm from the Rio Grande Valley, El Valle.
Alright, so if I could, man, Yashikar by Yashikar, man. Tell the people where you come from, man. What was it like in Rio Grande?
Right, Khan, sir. So I come from Rio Grande Valley, it's Gulf Cartel territory. That's where everything handles. Like all our brothers, blacks, Hispanics, and natives, we grew up in broken homes. My home was no different. I grew up hungry, I grew up homeless. I grew up wearing the same clothes 2-3 years. Damn. You know, out of everything, I had an off and on father. Mm-hmm. My father also worked for a cartel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, your pop worked for cartel?
Khan.
Damn, how that work?
Well, the brother, he got busted with 46 kilos of cocaine in Corpus Christi.
Damn.
He only lasted 1.5 years in jail, and they shipped us back his body. So that was at a young age. Since then, you know, I mean, my father, you know, we're destroyed because we don't know who we are, and Christianity and Catholicism, it destroyed us. So as it goes by, you know, growing up with a father, he was abusive. He beat me up, beat up my moms and all that. And you know, I wanted to be better than him with everything. Wanted to be a better father, a better fighter, a better drug dealer, a better killer, a better everything. I was gonna be better than him. And he died when I was maybe, I think like 18 or so. I was pretty young. But then again, he was never there in my life. And you know, like every brother starts off in the barrios, started off with an eight ball, and you started, doubling it, and that's how we go. Yeah, that's how we keep going. And I wasn't any big timer at first, just little 8 balls and QPs, and slanging nicks and dimes and 20s and all that, and just paying enough for the gas and all that.
Right.
But as time progressed, and one of my jobs, I hooked up with a brother. He's from Roma, Texas. And that brother was hooked up with some big timers. So they asked me if I wanted to work. So in one of those moments where I felt the anxiety, I couldn't come up with the bill. By then I was already married, 4 kids. I couldn't pay the light bill. So I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to do it. So we went to Roma. From Roma to McAllen is an hour drive long. And I had a little 96 Honda. And I remember these brothers, we went to the spot. They took the Honda, and then they told it was like a little ranch over there. Right. Told me to pick it up an hour later. So me and the homeboy went, we got it, and they took out the seats. They had some big old blocks. I don't want, like half of my size. Big old stacas homes, like pinches cuadros chingones, hardcore. And I was like, fuck. But you can't, hey, I had to pay my light bill. Right. We don't do this for fun. We do this out of necessity. Right. Because we have to. Because the white man is the goddamn devil and leaves us no choice other than to go against their system, to go against the will of God, against his commandments. And I went off. But like every Christian and Catholic person I did the little cross and I prayed to the Lord to let me get away with this. Right. I must have, I don't know, I don't want, so there's a car coming over here. I must have at least at least 1,000 pounds. The trunk was full. Even the passenger seat, it had a big old block half of my size. Had to put the seatbelt on it so it won't fly off and all that. Damn. So as I was driving, I did my prayer.
You put the seatbelt on the bundle.
It was a block. I don't want a compressed block.
That's crazy.
Hardcore, sir. So I put the seatbelt in. I started going. There was 2 new trucks, one in front of me, one behind me. And they said if the cops pop up that they were going to do something so, they get him off my back. Right. And sure enough, it happened. State trooper right behind me. I was like, fuck, this is it. Right. And then the state trooper turns on the lights. And I was like, well, that's it. It's over. Us where we're from, I've been a mixed martial artist since I was, 19.
So this was in the U.S. or in Mexico?
No, this was in the Rio Grande Valley, U.S.
Okay, it was in the U.S.
Texas,
okay.
Texas, out of it. So, I trained all my life, and for us, most of us, going to prison is like the next step to being a man. Right. For us, you have to go to prison. I had to go to prison. I had to be my father. Prison was not going to kill me like it killed my father. Right. And so, I trained to fight it. I was a cage fighter for a while as well. But the Lord was merciful with me. That state trooper turned on the lights, and I said, that's it, it's over. I go to the shoulder. The state trooper stops the car right in front of me. Right in front of me. That vato would have been on the 10 o'clock news that day. Yeah. But he fucked up. He got the guy right. I know it was the Lord. Right. And I wanted to, I was on some suicidal shit. I was angry at the world. Right. I hated myself, so I hated everybody. Right. Everybody had to feel my pain. Everybody had to feel my anger. I wasn't going to be victim of the world anymore. Right. The world was going to be my victim. So I was ready for it. So, but the Lord wasn't having it like that. So then, I made it. The cop stopped the guy in front of me. I went. I dropped it off, and it got picked up. And, so then, I told the vatos that, you know what, I don't want to do it like this no more. You got any other job? And I had 2 storages in the back of my house, big storages and shit. They said, yeah, we need a storage house. So I had my own crew. I had at least 10 vatos, all, dickies and mustard shirt tattoos, pelones, bald-headed vatos. Right. And we was all down with it. We had a brotherhood, a worldly brotherhood. It's not like the UPK, the real brotherhood. Right. This was a worldly brotherhood where he could be your brother, but you still had to make sure that vato don't stab you in the back. You always had to. And I always kept my family away from everybody. So, yeah, we set up a meeting, and the vatos went over there, scoped out my house. I had 2 big storage rooms, pretty big ones. And they said, all right, let's do this. So, yeah, the next day, a big old van, the vatos called me down the street. There was a store. They said, hey, there's a van, this color in the parking lot. Go pick it up. So me and my homeboy went and picked it up. We dropped it. We went back to my crib, and we started unloading. I'm talking about some big old stacks from the floor to here. Fat, all ceramic wrap. They all had a code. They all had initials and they were all weighted out. My job was to reweigh them to make sure that nobody was skimping them out and hold them. So after we unloaded the first van, I called the vato and he's like, all right, hey, well, there's another van that's already on its way. Go over there and wait for it. We dropped off that van and then the van got there. And again, we took it over there. But this one had kilos. Some kilos. I mean, this shit looked like it was a goddamn movie, Scarface and shit. It was hardcore with it. And we were all strapped and we were ready just in case of anything went down. So we unloaded it. And again, another one, boom, I hit up the vato. Another one, went drop off that one, picked up another one. And again, big old stacks of weed. Hardcore. Shit. I'm talking about hardcore. My storage room was full. It was full. And then, I was getting paid pretty good. So by the next day, they would call me certain merchandise leaves, and certain, then as it leaves, they keep bringing in more. It's like a rotation. It keeps going like that.
Gotcha.
So, and I did that for over a year, working with them. But then it happened. One of my uncles died. That's when the Lord was already reaching out to me. When my uncle died, he was like my pops. He was the same as me. He was working also with the cartel, but with a different group.
Right.
And every time something happened, I would go talk to him. And, he was like my pops. He took, with us, blacks, Hispanics, and natives, we're all about weed. So we go smoke a blunt and we talk about the problems. He told me how to go about certain situations and all that. So then once he died, it hit me hard. And so this is where everything started fucking up. I started popping Xanax. And I started going on some crazy trips. And one Xanax, it became 3 Xanax and then 5 Xanax. Then I was popping 11 Xanax a day. 11 and just smoking blunt after blunt. Where I'm from, it's $1 a gram of weed. So I know there's a lot of brothers that say they would outsmoke me, but where I'm from, it's very, very cheap. So we keep going, and I'm still operating here, but now I'm already going into
$1 a gram is insane.
A concert. That's where everything goes out of one.
Insane.
It goes from the valley, and then it gets shipped up. You got to cross the checkpoint. Furias checkpoint.
You getting around the way you getting a 20 a gram,
right?
25 a gram. That's crazy.
Hardcore.
Insane. But my bad, Slocky, go ahead.
Oh, we good out of one. So then I'm over here popping pills and I'm going on trips. We have little wars with certain people and this and that. I get in shootouts. I get in stabbings. A lot of shit happened. I was reckless. I became real reckless. Xanax makes you into another different person. So I was throwing down the stop signs and traffic lights in Walmarts and H-E-B and Stripes. Everywhere it was just a fight.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't handle nobody disrespecting me. To us, death is better than dishonor.
Right.
Like I wouldn't, por mis huevos, nobody was gonna disrespect me. So we keep going, and I'm still over here trying to deal with this and that. By then, 2 of my homies told me that the vatos that were dealing with me, that they wanted to work with them too. They had already broken the code. They were supposed to ask me first, and I would have talked to my homies. But they skipped over me, and they're over here in secret and shit. So they came and told me, they used to call me Creeper in the streets. He's like, hey, Creeper, these vatos, they said if we want to work with him and, we see you making money, well, basically I'm asking you permission. Can you let us work so we can make some money too? If not, it's no big deal. We keep working with you. I told him, hey, carnal, if you're going to do it, just make sure you're ready for it. Because, these vatos, they are some hardcore shit.
Right.
So, in the way we were always strapped. I was always about guns and gunslinging. I was about it. That's what it was. It's street life.
Right.
So, we kept operating. The vatos took off. They started their own thing. And then it happened with them where somebody kicked in the door. They call it tumba puertas. Le tumbaron la puerta. They kicked in the door and, they had them on the floor with, people dressed in military, SWAT team and all that shit. They came and beat the shit out of them, had them on the floor in gunpoint while they were unloading their whole apartment with everything. And the vatos called me and they told me, and they had some shit that they had to handle amongst them. But to me, I was like, well, it's time to get out. And the money was good, everything was good, but the Lord was already touching me, moving me in some way where, I would see myself in the mirror and see the man that I had become. And I didn't want my children to be like this. I wanted that curse to be broken with me.
Right.
I wanted to be better than my father, but I didn't know how to be a real man.
Right.
No matter how many people you fight, you shoot at, or whatever you do, if it's not of the UPK, if it's not in the Bible, you're not a real man.
Right.
Only the Bible teaches you how to be a real man. That's something I had to learn. So I look at myself in the mirror with disgust, and a lot of homies died, overdose, car crashes. Some of them got locked up, and some of them committed suicide. I lost a lot of homies. I'm 41 years old. I'm old school. So I lost a lot of homies, and you know, shit was already getting to me. It was too much. By then, I already had maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years of popping 11 Xanax a day, and cocaine, and weed, and smoking that K2, that incense, and
K2,
and I would still drive like that. I would still operate. I had insomnia to the fullest.
So you say you doing Xannies, blowing, smoking weed, and K2, and got and sniffing lots of cocaine.
Concert.
Yo, you was out of here.
Concert, and I went like that hardcore since my uncle died. It was maybe almost 2 years, and I talked to the vatos, and I told them, hey, you know what? It's time for me to get out. He said, well, what you mean, Creeper? We're doing good. Yeah, but I already knew what had happened with my homies, how they rolled up on them and shit. So I told him, but that's it, homeboy. Hey, my uncle died, and I haven't been the same. I got to get my shit together.
Right.
So the vato said, hey, well, you know what? Hey, we've been making good money. Salaki, sir. Hey, can you give me a water, Karna Baba Kisha? So the vato said, hey, well, you know what? You've been good. Everything's been good. Everything's been checking out. All right, Creeper, we'll let it go like that. And if you ever need to work again, you hit us up. So, you know, it took him like maybe 2-3 weeks to get everything out. And again, a lot of homies took off in different directions because now my spirit was on fire. I just wanted to hurt people. And, you know, it came to the point where, you know, all I wanted to do was fight and do some dirt and just go on some bullshit. And I remember one of them weekends, my rib used to leave on the weekends. That would be the time I would operate the most. And I was in a table, and I had little mountain of cocaine. I was taking shots, bucanas, you know, raza. We drink bucanas, eh? So I was fucking drinking bucanas and, you know, taking some pinche pase, you know, taking some bumps and smoking, and I'm all Xanax out. And I put a bullet in my revolver. And, you know, Russian really, I put it down. So yeah, I'm like, fuck it. I don't want my kids to see me like this. I become a fucking junkie.
Right.
What the fuck am I doing?
Right.
You know, and even then I would still work out and I would still do everything, but I couldn't get any satisfaction on anything I did in my life anymore.
Right.
It was over. I thought I just needed to restart or to die. That was it. So I made a long ass line out of one, and you know, I poured myself a drink. I took 4 shots, boom, 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 boom. And then I snorted that whole line with a big old straw I had. And then I took 2 big hits of the blunt and took a hit of the kush from a pipe. I grabbed the gun and click. And I'm like, they didn't go off. So I'm like, I get angry. And now I'm yelling at God, like, what do you want from me? You won't let me live, but you won't let me die. So with tears in my face, and I'm over here like, fuck. So I just kept going the whole night, just on everything, just reevaluating everything, see if I could do anything for me. So then that's when it was time. I decided to go to my sister's house in Michigan and try to kick it cold turkey. So I went over there, I flew over there. By day number 5 of no sleeping, I was already hallucinating and talking to my dead homies. She lived in a wooded area, so I was at 3 or 4 in the morning sitting outside, surrounded by dead homies, and I'm having a conversation with them like if they're all there. And I'm over here like, damn, carnal, you shouldn't have died like that. They said, like fuck. And then I'm talking to everybody now, and I'm smoking with them. You know, when that night passed, I told my sister, take me to the hospital, because that's it. I don't know what's going to happen with me anymore. Go to the hospital. I tell the doctor everything that I've done, everything, all them drugs I was hooked on. He told me a lot of people die for a lot less of what you've done.
Right.
I don't know how you're still alive.
Right.
So I said, look, I just need to go to sleep so I can get better. I haven't slept, and I'm already talking to dead people and all that.
Right.
So he said, I got a shot for you that's going to put you to sleep. We're going to keep you for a few nights, and we'll put you to sleep. I told him, make sure that it's something strong, because I have a high tolerance for everything.
Right.
The guy said, this is something that will put a horse to sleep. So he gave me the shot, but it didn't put me to sleep. It put me on automatic pilot. And then it put me where everybody was withdrawing from drugs. You know, all the people that were out there that were doing heroin, I guess it's like a rehab that they have.
Right.
So I was there 3 days. And all I remember was throwing down with people. And the Lord would made it where I would just come back just to fight. I'm short. I'm 5'6". I'm a short Mexican.
Right.
But so, you know, a lot of people, they want to mess with us. You know, that's all it is. Everybody want to mess with the short Mexican. That's always I live like that.
Yeah.
So I would be throwing down. I remember I would just come back to my body, and I got this big old white guy trying to, hey, what's up? Like, what? You know, and you just start going at it. I'm over here. I remember flying arm bars, flying kicks, rear naked chokes, ankle locks, double leg takedowns. I was doing all kinds of shit on these people. And then once they were gonna, I think on my third day, they called my sister and said that it was over for me. They had given me 6 shots, and it wouldn't put me to sleep.
That's
and I was just the whole night just walking around and picking fights and just crazy. I wasn't there, but the Lord was still with me those days because He protected me from the hands of the heathens, from catching an ass whooping from these people. I could still fight.
Right.
So on the third day, that same day that they called my sister, that's when the Lord had mercy on me and put me to sleep. He said, all right, you know what? They said I walked into
so you
my
went
room.
to sleep on the third day?
Concert when they were about to give up on me. They were gonna call the cops and take me to a crazy house and put me on a vest and all that. So, but they said that by myself, I just walked to my room and fell asleep. So I wake up in the hospital. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, and I'm over here like, you know, I pushed for assistance. The nurse, and I'm like, hey, well, where am I? What the fuck is going on? What happened? And the nurse came over here and explained to me everything that I had done, everything that I have, how many people I hurt. I was doing some crazy ass shit. So I told them I don't remember anything. It's y'all's fault. So I blamed it on them. You know, it's y'all fault. I told y'all that I wasn't gonna go to sleep.
Right.
So I don't know what the fuck y'all gave me.
Right.
So then that's when it happened. They kept me there 2 days, and then they let me go just to make sure I wasn't crazy. So then I remember we went to my sister's house, and you know, every Israelite, if you're Black, Hispanic, and Native, you have a broken ass car in your backyard that later becomes a smoking headquarters.
Right.
And I was in there just smoking blunt after blunt after blunt, and just thinking about my whole life. You know, there's a lot of things I can't say, and a lot of other things that happen I can't really talk about.
Right.
But so I'm over here smoking, and I start talking to God like, what is it that you want from me? Why can't you just let me die? Like, what do you want from me? You won't even talk to me. Are you even alive? So then I yell like, where the, you know, I said, where the fuck are you? You know, where the fuck are you, God? Like, I'm right here. Like, show me how to live. Show me something. And, you know, I was tearing up, but I just kept smoking. So then that night, I went over there to my living room, to my sister's living room, and tried to go to sleep and shit. And that's when it happened. I fell asleep, and then I hear a voice, awake, you know, like awake, arise, or something like that. This voice was not talking in English, and it was not talking in Spanish, but I was understanding what the voice was saying. So, you know, I start floating up in the living room, and I turn around and I look, and I see my body right there in the couch where I had slept. And I turn around, and there's this big, huge light. I can't even see it. It's too bright, and it hurts. I couldn't even see from where it began to where it ended. I thought I was dead. So I said, what is this? Am I dead? And the angel said, and I know it's an angel because I got counsel on it with a general. And I said, what is this? Am I dead? What's happening? The angel said, you asked the Lord thy God to show you who you are. Now come with me. So from there, I started floating up. I flew through the roof. I see the house, and I ended up in this place with some big old golden gates. Big. I was tiny, and these gates were huge. And I asked the angel, what is this? Where am I? The angel said, you're in a place called Shemayim. Now, I don't know anything about no Lashawan Kadash. I don't know anything about our language, but that's what the angel referred to it as it was. Later on, you know, in the Lord's Prayer, Abanawa Shabbat Shemayim, Kadash Haya Shamka, you know, our Father who art thou in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yeah, so I was in, according to the general, I was in the third heaven. So then the angel said, walk with me. So the gates open, and I'm walking through a big old bridge. And then I hear explosions and screamings and cryings. And I look over the bridge, and I'm seeing buildings burning from as far as I could see. People dying, explosions, all kinds of crazy cataclysmic shit, and I'm tripping out like, what is this? I tell the angel because it's of course it's Earth, but I'm seeing it from up there, and I'm seeing everything, just cars, everything is just being destroyed, fire consuming everything, people screaming, people trying to save their kids, but they still get burned. And I asked the angel, what is this? And the angel tells me Babylon has fallen. So I'm over here like, what does that mean? The angel says, Sodom and Gomorrah, it is done. It has been judged. I still don't know what's going on. You know, I'm talking about Vato from the streets. I went to Christian church. Christianity failed me. I went to Catholic church. It failed me as well. I even tried to go to the Muslim place one time while I was on Xanax. I fell asleep in the carpet while they were talking. I don't know what. They thought I was praying, but I was asleep. I was fucked up. I was out of it. And so, you know, and now all of this is happening. So, and the angel tells me this, so I don't ask him any more questions because I'm not really understanding everything that's going on. But I'm there looking over the bridge for many, many hours, people dying and all kinds of different people. It's not like just the same person dying. No, I'm seeing some hardcore shit, hardcore.
Right.
All of a sudden, an explosion, big explosion happens, and it reaches the heavens where I'm at. So now the fire is all around me, but I'm not being consumed, and I'm tripping.
We live?
Huh.
Just on sound right now?
Silence the wall.
Yeah, sound is good.
Okay. All right. Shalom, Israel, where the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. And since 1969, we've been teaching the truth according to the Bible. The so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, we are the Israelites. We are the real Jews according to the Bible. I'm Preaching Officer Sha'al, and today is Wednesday, Law class. Let's clap it up for the Most High in Christ. All right, so we're going to go straight into it. The title of my class is Keeping the Laws. What do I mean by keeping the laws? There's many laws to keep. You understand? There's laws of the land. There's laws on your job. You understand? There's laws everywhere. There's laws when you go into court. There's laws when you go into the postal. There's laws even when you go to the playground. You understand? And decent exposure. You know what I'm saying? However, what I mean by keeping the laws is talking about the laws of the God of Israel.
That's right.
You understand? The law of lawgiver. You understand? This law, this land that we're living in, you understand? Empire run on their laws. Why? Because they got laws from the Bible, from the book of Moses. You understand? And Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, we are not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of God. So the title once again is Keeping the Laws. Will defeat our enemies. That's the title of the class. Keeping the laws will defeat our enemies. Why are we on the bottom? Why is the oppressor unaliving us? Our men, our children, our babies. Why is the other nations over us and exploiting us? Why did we go through slavery? Why did we go through drug epidemics, gangs, violence, facing racism, be on the bottom, underpaid, hardly can afford your rent, bills stacked on top of bills? Your supermarkets got the worst food. Why is such calamity overtaking Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians? It's simple. We've been teaching this since 1969. You understand? The ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana has the solution to every Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indian problem. And that's because simply we're not keeping the Lord's statutes and commandments. We're not worshiping our Creator, the God who created us, the God who created us to be separate and holy unto Himself. We're not obeying the Most High God. We're being bad children. We're being disobedient children. Wait, hey, listen. Have you ever heard a hard head makes a soft behind? That's something your mother used to say, or your grandparents used to say. You act up as a child, your father or your mother or your grandparents, you understand, or your kin will discipline you. They wouldn't spare the rod. So this is how our God, in return, repays us for being disobedient. He puts us into the hand of the captivity of the other nations to spoil us. Slavery, man. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
Slavery destroyed us. Just because we're not shackled up, guess what? Our minds are shackled up more than ever how we was binded up physically. We're in the Christianity, serving another God. Thinking that our king is a white man. We into Islam, we into drugs, we into violence, we into gangs, eating pork, crab, lobster, and shrimp, celebrating our oppressors' holidays, man. They're pagan ways. We're in the other nations' garments and following their cultures and their gods, hating one another, whoring out our women, our men turning into sodomy. We are filthy, bad children in the sight of the Most High God. But with the Lord's mercy since 1969, He restored this truth back into the land to the real priests and prophets of old, under Commanding General Yohana. And we're waking up on how to serve the Most High God, man. And we're fighting our way to become what? That righteous and holy nation again. I don't want to stray off the topic. I'm going to go right into it, man. Keeping the laws of God will defeat our enemies, man. And why I say this, because we're about to go into a story of this brother by the name of Ryan Hinton, a black man. Well, his son, Ryan Hinton Jr., was involved in a stolen vehicle situation where law enforcement stopped the car. Whoever was in the car, they ran out. But however, a young brother, an 18-year-old brother by the name of Ryan Hinton Jr. was shot in the back and was unalived. Allegedly, he had a gun. Allegedly. This happened on May 1st. The father saw the footage of the unaliving of his son and took matters into his own hand. He took matters into his own hand. And on May 2nd, Ryan Hinton, the father, out of rage, out of pain, out of hurt of losing his son, his one and only, his son. Can you imagine the pain, the anguish, the frustration Are you raising a child and that child is taken away from you in cold blood? He became outraged and he took matters into his own hand. This brother, Ryan Hinton, he went into his own vehicle and he ran down a police officer that was on duty. Now, this particular police officer had nothing to do with the unaliving of his son. Well, here in the ISUPK, we are going to teach you that what this brother, Ryan Hinton, did was wrong. As Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, we are not to avenge the wrongdoings of us from our enemies. Now, make this clear. You got a right to defend yourself. If anyone is physically attacking you or causing harm, or you may feel like your life is in danger, you got the right to defend yourself. We're not Christians up in here. Well, we're going to teach you that vengeance is of the Lord. And murder is unlawful according to the Bible. This is what this brother did. He unalived another man out of rage. And that's why it's so important that you come to class. That's why the ISUPK is so important, man. Because it will prevent brothers and sisters from getting themselves in trouble. Hold your point, Uncle Shaw. It will prevent brothers and sisters from getting in trouble. Listen, man, we get in trouble on a daily basis over small stuff, small, minute stuff. Unaliving a man over a goddamn subway seat. Now you sitting in jail for the rest of your life, man. Something that could be talked about, talked. Go to him and him alone. Let the brother know how he violated you and how much pain and hurt you feel. Showing sympathy and mercy and compassion from one another. This is what we teach here in ISUPK that the churches do not teach, man. The pastors, they scatter the flock of the Lord. They don't teach Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians to follow in the footsteps, you understand, of our King and following these laws, statutes, and commandments. So we're going to go into this article, if I may. You had something to bring out briefly?
Khan, what you were saying is so heavy about this. You know what I'm saying? The brother didn't know that in the ISUPK we have counselors. Mm-hmm. When he was going through that mess, who, you know what I'm saying? Was anybody there to console him, to cry with him, to let him know we're going to get justice? He didn't have nobody to go to, and that's, you know what I mean? That's what ISUPK provide. And that's when our community don't know that we here for them when situations like this happen. Right. He didn't know, you know what I mean? He just want to do violence because the pain. But who's there for him to go to make sure to tell him the violence is bad? Right. What you about to do? Right. There was nobody to go to because there's no safe place that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to go to. That's why we sell drugs to each other.
Most High Christ. We're going to read this first article. This is from Cincinnati.com, right? So let's go down to the picture. We'll go down to the picture. Okay. Now you see this brother on the screen right here? I was looking on the chat. Let me see. No, you can keep it there. I blew it up. Yeah, you can keep it there. Okay. Come. This brother right here. You understand? This brother is in prison, sitting, he's locked up because he unalived, or what would you call an innocent man that had nothing to do with his son being unalive. He took vengeance into his own hand. His brother's name is Ryan Hurst. And I hurt for this brother, man.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I hurt for this. You got to understand, Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, we are the only people that sit and watch the unaliving of police on our people. This don't happen to the Asians. This don't happen to the Jewish man. This don't happen to the Africans. This don't happen to the Arabs. This don't even happen to fellow American white people. Countless videos are circling online of law enforcement taking the lives of our mothers, of our fathers, and our sons, and our daughters, and our babies. You know how many times this man saw on television the unaliving of another Black man, Hispanic man? He would never thought in his wildest dreams that it would be his own son that he would be watching on recording. No parent. No matter of fact, let me rephrase my words. We're living in an empire now where we hope that our children come home safely. Behold, this happened to him. We could go up to the article.
Right.
We're just going to read a brief, I'm going to get his story a little brief. This is from Cincinnati.com. Read about the show.
Cincinnati.com, the Inquirer. Who are the Hintons? What we know about man charged with killing a Hamilton County deputy.
Slow down.
Right here. This was updated with the current update. The deputy was struck. The man charged with killing a Hamilton County Sheriff deputy previously pleaded guilty to assault and aggravated menacing. Police say Rodney Hinton Jr. struck the deputy with his car on May 2nd as the deputy was directing traffic for the University of Cincinnati commutement. The deputy was transported to critical condition to the hospital and later died.
Well, correction. This brother who unalived the police officer, his name is Rodney Hinton. Salakia. His name is Rodney Hinton. His son name is Ryan Hinton. So this brother, Ryan Hinton, he's now sitting in prison for a crime that he was not supposed to commit. Unaliving a deputy police officer in a revenge of what the Cincinnati police did to his son, which they unalived his son during a stolen vehicle pursuit. And we're going to go into the Bible. We're going to read. You understand how our oppressors feel about us. You could go to the scriptures.
Oh, God.
Psalms 83. We're going to go into the scriptures and we're going to read how the oppressor feels about us. Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indian. Understand, we cannot act like the other nations. This was laws, statutes, and commandments on for us how to conduct ourselves in all walks of life, in all situations. You got to understand that our enemies, the oppressor in the other nations, they don't want us here on earth. They want the name of Israel to be erased from the history. You see how the so-called white man, he's erasing all sorts of black history. Critical race theory. He's taking out all records and governments about our. You can't even learn about the Tuskegee Airmen in some universities. And you tell me that God doesn't exist? Prophecy is happening as we are living here today in this empire called America. Let's go to Psalm 83rd chapter.
Psalms 83 verse 1. A song of song of Asaph. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Read that again.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God. Man, this is King David. You understand? King David, he wrote the book of Psalms. A servant of the Lord, a fearless leader of Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians during his time. A man who was righteous and also a man who made mistakes and repented for the mistakes and the evil that he have committed. Just like any ordinary man and woman. King David said, what?
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thou silence, O God. God, you see how the oppressors unalive Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians? Daily. There's stories we don't even hear about. Don't make the first mainstream news. This is happening every day of every minute in the slums, ghettos, and the reservations of where Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians dwell. All the hell, what the oppression that we going through. The suffering, the slavery, the abuse, the racism, being on the bottom of society, all the pain and the anguish that's boiled up on us, and we have no one to talk to. And the other nations, they take full advantage of our suffering. That's how they thrive. That's how they make money. That's how the economic system built over the blood, sweat, and tears of Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians. And King David is seeing this. And the Most High God is seeing this. And King David is saying, what?
Keep not thou silence, O God.
Keep not thou silence, O God. His point of reference is the Most High God. He's saying to God, keep not thou silence, meaning what? Revenge us. Plead for us, fight for us. Because we are passing away up and we are getting wasted in these streets. Oh Lord, fight for us. Send down your army of hosts and defend us. Because we need it, man. How many more Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians that have been unalive by law enforcement, by the hands of our oppressors, by them pumping drugs in our neighborhoods? Read on.
Hold not thy peace.
Do what?
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace. Because you Christians want God to be so peaceful and so loving. As if you don't get mad. As if you don't get outraged. I tell you what, you get more mad and upset and outraged to your fellow brothers and sisters more than you do to the man who put you in the situation you in. That's to the man who's oppressing you.
Right.
You have no courage to stand up to the people who's oppressing you. And with that, there's a right way to do it. And the only way to do it is here in the ISUPK. Only a priest and a prophet. Where we cry out and spare not. And we talk about this filthy, disgusting kingdom called America and the oppressor that's ruling over us. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. You have no courage to do that. You want God to be all purple hearts and loving and butterflies and Mother Day cards and gifts and all that crap. But the Most High God have feelings too. And King David knows. That's why King David is begging the Most High to, what? Hold not thy peace.
And hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace. Fall on our enemies. Read on.
And be not still.
And be not still. Read on.
Oh God.
Read on.
Verse 2. For lo,
behold, read on.
Thy enemy.
Thy who?
Thy enemy.
Thy who?
Thy enemy.
Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians have what?
Enemies.
We have enemies, man. It's recorded in the Bible. King David is saying so. Out your goddamn mind to think that Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians don't have enemies. The only problem is you don't know that we have enemies. You look in the mirror and you want to fight the man in the mirror. You want to fight your brother. You want to fight your sister. And they in the same damn predicament in the situation catching hell as you. Meanwhile, the oppressor, man, you know what I'm saying? He's traveling to all parts of the world. Listen, man, there's parts of the world that you don't even know about. And he's conquering and exploring and relaxing, living on $1 million yachts. You understand? Houses in the mountains and all that. And you never left the Bronx. You never left Brooklyn. You never left the 5 boroughs of New York City. You don't know what it's like to catch a breath of fresh air. But yet you hate your brother and your sister.
Oh no, you're dropping it so heavy that the brothers and sisters never left the Bronx, never left Yonkers, never left New York City. And when they drive to, like, you know what I'm saying, their relatives in the South, they don't realize all that farmland that they passing, all those 3 hours that you passing, the white man owned that land.
Right.
He owned all that land right there. You have, you know what I'm saying, you have drove 3 hours through a state. The white man owned all of that.
He owns all of it.
One white man owns all that land. You don't phantom that. You don't understand. We don't understand that right there. Like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, I can't believe one person owns all this land, and I drove an hour and a half in the state.
That's right.
Slide.
All that land. And all the homelessness in New York City. Read on.
Come, for lo, thy enemy make it to mold.
They make a noise. They make a confusion. How the hell are we going to get these Black, Hispanic, Native North American Indians up out of here? They did it the same way when we was in Egypt. Behold, these people multiply, man. I'm paraphrasing. We got these people in bondage. We're talking about Egypt. We got these people. We got these slaves and bondage, and they keep on multiplying. Let's figure out a way how to destroy them, make their burden more harder. They make a tumult, man. You'd be surprised, man, how they have meetings, man, in the White House, man, in the Pentagon, and these militia groups and these Ku Klux Klan meetings, man, on how to destroy Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians. To set snares and traps before us, for us to sin against our God. Because the nations know that when we sin against the Most High God is not with us. That's why they pump drugs in our neighborhoods, abortion clinics. You understand? Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, we are the poster boy of the LGBTQ community.
That's right.
or the gangs or the crimes. Maybe one nation on earth that popularized crime, like how Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians do. We want to be the Godfathers. We want to be the Scarfaces. We want to be the Lucianos and the Gambino family. That Wu-Tang Clan nickname, they hope that each member of the Wu-Tang Clan named them a Gambino name. If y'all remember the Raekwon album and whatnot. Tell me what nation on earth popularized crime like how we do. And we get it from them. Tell me I'm lying. Why do Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians want to die so much? Why we got such a passion or want to die and not live?
Go, go back to your country. Go back to your country, nigger. We don't welcome black people. Black people should go. Go back to Africa. You look so fucking ugly with your dark skin color. 回到非洲去好吗？ Go back to your country. Nigger, 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 nigger. Do you eat watermelon? I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because his wife is your master. My boyfriend because I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because he's Go back to your country. Go back to your country, nigger. We don't welcome black people. Black people should go. Go back to Africa. You look so fucking ugly with your dark skin color. 回到非洲去好吗？ Go back to your country. Nigger, 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 nigger. Do you eat watermelon? I'm going to send this to my boyfriend because his wife is your master.
This year, the fellowship helped over 2.1 million people around the world. We provided food.
Sorry for what I have done. I think we're all totally sorry for what I have totally sorry for what I have done. I think we're all humans, and why I have such an opinion because my ex-boyfriend, he was brainwashing me for a long time, and now I realize it's totally wrong. I shouldn't put my personal emotions on others. I think we're all the same. And you're cultivated, you have quality, you know about culture, and you teach English. So I think you probably, in some ways, you're even better than me. And I shouldn't even have such things. I'm really sorry for that. Forgive you.
Something happened. It clicked over.
What happened?
Give me a second.
I'm looking at it. It's good right here.
No. Brother said it was no sound.
It's no sound?
All right, sound came back.
How long has sound been off?
He hit it at 34, and right now it's 36. I just clicked over from the scriptures just to see if anything going on. So I just fixed it so the sound is good.
I no sweat. All right, been on.
Come. It said, being a nation, that the name of Israel.
The name of what?
Israel.
The name of what?
Israel.
The name of Israel. You understand? The Lord gave us his name. Israel means he is a prince of power. Black, Hispanic, and Native, North American, Indian man, you are a prince of power. Black, Hispanic, and Native, North American, Indian sister, you are a princess of power of the Most High God. We are a nation, man. But yet the oppressor wants us to what? Cut them off.
Cut them off for being a nation.
Cut them off from being a strong, vibrant nation, a righteous nation, in fact, a holy and a separate nation. Why? We're about to get into it in the book of Judith, man, in the Apocrypha. Because when we are unified and we are one in Slakia, when we are unified and when we are in one mind and one accord, serving the Lord and following these laws, statutes, and commandments, we are unstoppable. We are untouchable, man. The Lord pleads for us and the Lord fight for us. And that's when the other nations come into subjection under our power. They don't want that. So, of course, they're going to put drugs in your neighborhood. They're going to put the LGBTQ in your neighborhood. They're going to put the abortion clinics in your neighborhood. They're going to put the churches on every single corner in your neighborhood. Pump you with Christianity and pump you with Islam. They're going to feed you the pork, crab, lobster, and shrimp. They're going to put the tattoo parties in your neighborhoods. Why? Because they know when you sin against the Most High God is not with the children of Israel. And they're going to do everything in their power to create a system where you sin against your God. They're going to provoke you to sin against your God. They're going to provoke you to commit crimes. Read on.
Come, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Maybe what?
No more in remembrance.
Not only do they want to cut you off from being a nation, but they don't want the name of Israel in remembrance. This critical race theory, Donald Trump erasing all the history of Black, Hispanic, and Native North Americans from out the universities and the museums. Next thing, what he's going to do? He's going to blot out all the Israel itself. The word Israel is going to be no more in the dictionary and contact books. Is that what he's going to do? That's what they want to do. That the name of Israel shall be what and no more remembrance. And this is talking about Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians. How we know this is not talking about the Jewish man? Because we get reminded of its Holocaust every single goddamn year, nearly every goddamn day.
Right.
We know who the Jewish man is. We know where Israel is. So it's not talking about white people. It's talking about Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians because we are the Israelites, the real Jews according to the Bible. And he's done his job because we don't know that we are the Israelites. That's when the HADQUARTERS go to camp every Saturday. You understand? Our people looking at us like we goddamn crazy. What you talking about? Christ is black. God is black. Angels is black. Israelites is black. Oh no, hell no. God hates the white man. That's how he put the name of Israel in no more remembrance because you don't know who you are, black man. Hispanic man, Native North American Indian man, you worship a white Christ. When Christ is black and he died for Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians. Read on.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
For one consent, one main objective, one goal. You understand? And that's to destroy the Lord's people. Read on.
They are confederate against thee.
Read on.
Verse 6. They tabernacle the tabernacle of Edom.
The what?
The tabernacle of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom. What does tabernacle mean? House. The house of Edom. Let me tell you something about Edom. You understand? Edom is the nationality for all Caucasian men and women on the face of this earth. Whether you're white American, whether you're Jewish, French, Russian, Greek, German, Roman, French, Australian, you understand? You fall under the nationality of Edom. That's your forefather. Esau is your forefather. The houses of Edom, read on.
The Ishmaelites.
In the what?
Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites. Who are the Ishmaelites? The Ishmaelites are the Arabs. For those who don't know, who are tuning in, Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, what you need to know that there's 18 nations on the face of this earth. And they're recorded in the Bible. And God gave each nation a biblical name in the Bible. When you read, when the Christian pastor read the Bible, they don't read about Haitians or Dominicans or Africans or French, Russian, Greek, German. You understand? God gave us a biblical name. You don't know that. That's why you can't identify yourself with the Bible. That's why you think Christ is white. Jesus is Christ is white. The Israelites is white. God is white. But Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, we got a biblical name, and our biblical name is Israel. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Asher, Naphtali, and Issachar. 12 tribes of Israel. Read on.
Come. Of Moab.
Of who?
Of Moab.
That filthy, disgusting washpot, dog, Chinese, you understand? Her nationality is Moab. Chinese, Moab. Read on.
Come. And the Hagarenes.
Read on.
Verse 7. Gabal.
Read on.
And Ammon.
And Ammon. Ammon would be what? The Japanese. Read on.
And Amalek.
And who?
And Amalek.
Who?
And Amalek.
Amalek. Amalek is the people who call themselves Jewish, who stole our nationality. Most High God said, Israel and Amalek will be forever enemies. They are the people who call themselves Israel, Jews, the Jewish man. He's not the real Jew according to the Bible. Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, we are the real Jews. We are
the Philistines.
The Africans.
With the inhabitant of Tyre.
Read on.
Verse 8. A son is also joined with them.
So you can stop this. So basically, what is King David doing? He's naming our enemies, man, which the Christian church so refused to not understand. The Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, we have enemies, man. God is not about all love and peace, and dovey. He separated the nations. Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, we're supposed to be separated from our enemies, from these nations that King David just named. They out to destroy us, man. Let's go to Judith of Ashur. Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh, Shabbat, to the brothers in the chat. Yahweh, Shema, Allah, Bahashim, Yahweh, Shema, Salaki, Yahweh, Shema, Allah, Yahweh, Shah. To the sisters in the chat. Let's get that Judith. The 5th chapter. If you don't know, if you're new to class, Judith will be located within the book of the Apocrypha. Apocrypha is, what is it, a Greek word? A Greek word which means the hidden. 14 books that have been taken out of the original King James Bible. You understand? Because of its truth according to who our enemy is. Judith chapter 5, and what verse we're going to start off with?
Verse 20.
Verse 20?
Yeah. I just want to start from 19.
No, didn't you say verse 5 or something like that?
Oh, no. It's chapter 5, verse 20.
Verse 20? No, I think you said something before that, though. Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah. But that's what I have in my notes.
Oh, no, yeah. Verse 5. 5, verse 5.
5 and 5?
Oh, sure.
Judah, chapter 5, verse 5. Then
if I may. Right. And this is what our people, Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians, got to understand. That we don't got to take matters into our own hands when it comes to avenging, you understand, of the offenses of the other nations. The Lord will do it for you if you're right with the Lord, if you follow his law, statutes, commandments. And we're going to read about that. And what's so heavy about this, the other nations know this about you. We don't even know this about ourselves. The other nations know this about you. The oppressor, the so-called white man, knows about this about you. The Asians, the Chinese, the Japanese, the East Indians, the Arabs, and the Africans, they know this. That when you're right with the Lord will fight for you. The Lord will get vengeance for you. We don't take matters into our own hands by unaliving people or physically assaulting people or causing harm to other people. When I'm talking about other people, I'm talking about other nationalities, and also I'm talking about each other. Read on.
Come. Judah, chapter 5, verse 5. Say, Achor.
Then said.
Then said Achor.
The
captain of all the sons of Ammon.
He's the what?
Captain of all the sons of Ammon.
So Achor, he's the captain. You understand? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'm gonna pronounce it as it fit. Achor, he's the captain of all the sons of Ammon. Who is Ammon? The Japanese today are the Ammonites. Read on.
Come. Let my Lord know, hear a word.
Let my Lord know what?
Hear a word.
A word. A word. In context, a secret. A thing that you should know. Read on.
From the mouth of thy servant.
Read on.
And I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people.
Concerning what?
This people.
Concerning this people. This people is talking about the Israelites. Read on.
Which dwelleth near thee.
Which we dwelt near thee. Read on.
And inhabiteth the hill countries.
And we also inhabited the hill countries nearby. Read on.
And there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant.
Read on.
Verse 6. This people are descendants of the Chaldeans.
This people are the descendants of the Chaldeans. We go back to Abraham's ancestors. Read on.
Come, verse 7. And they sojourn there. They sojourn there.
Let's slow it down here.
They sojourn here to 4 in Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia, read on.
Because they would not follow the gods of their fathers.
Read that again.
Come.
Because
they would not follow the gods of their fathers.
So we went to Mesopotamia because we would not follow the gods of our fathers. Read on.
Which were in the land of Chaldea.
Read on.
Verse 8. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the God of heaven.
Yeah, we left and we went to Mesopotamia because, listen, our ancestors was going to hell off. They were worshiping other gods. Remember Abraham's ancestors? You understand? We was worshiping other gods. So we went the hell up out of there to what? To worship the God, the real God, the God of Israel. Read on.
The God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their God.
Read on.
And they fled into Mesopotamia.
Read on.
And sojourned there many days.
Read on.
Verse 9. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned.
Read that 9th verse again.
Come. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned.
Hold on, Salakia. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned. Read on.
And to go into the land of the Canaan.
Read on.
Where they dwell, and where increased it with gold and silver.
Read on.
And with very much cattle.
Read on. So this is talking about the land of Egypt. Read on.
Verse 10. But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan.
But when the famine covered all the land of Canaan, read on.
They went down into Egypt.
They went down to where?
Into Egypt.
Read on.
And sojourned there.
Read on.
While they were nourished and became there a great multitude.
And became there a great multitude. Read on.
So that one could not number their nation.
What is this talking about? You understand? This is talking about when we was in Egypt, the book of Exodus. Remember how Pharaoh said we multiplied? Read on.
Verse 11. Therefore, the king of Egypt rose up against them.
They rose up against them. Read on.
And dealt subtly with them. And brought them low with laboring in bricks. And made them slaves.
And made them what?
Slaves.
And made them what?
Slaves.
Read on.
Verse 12. Then they cried unto their God.
They did what?
Cried unto their God.
They cried unto their God. You understand? Now you got to understand. You understand? Nowhere in the Bible it says that we sin in order to get into Egypt captivity. You understand? When Joseph was what you call vice president over Egypt, you understand? He brought his family down to Egypt. You understand? And then that's where we multiplied and we became an exceeding people. So from that generation of Joseph, you understand, and the Pharaoh that was ruling over him gave us peace. You understand? Until that Pharaoh passed away and that new Pharaoh rose up. And when Joseph died, that's why it says in Exodus, who knew not Joseph. Now that's when they became cruel to our people and put us into slavery. Read on.
Come. And he smote all the land of Egypt.
Read on.
With incredible plagues. So the Egyptian cast them out of their sight.
Read on. So basically what we're reading that God has fought for us. You understand? When we cried out due to the oppression and enslavement and harsh, cruel ways that the Egyptians was treating us, just like how we are getting treated today here in America, whether you scatter throughout the four corners of the earth, the oppressor is oppressing you. We cried out in Egypt, and the Most High God fought for us and plagued Egypt. Read on.
Come on. Judah chapter 5, verse 13. And God dried the Red Sea before them.
And God dried the Red Sea before them. Read on.
Verse 14. And brought them to Mount
Sinai.
And
Kadesh Barn.
Read on. And cast forth all that dwelled in the wilderness.
Read on.
Verse 15. So they dwell in the land of the Ammonites.
Read on.
And they destroy by their strength all them of Esbon, and pass over Jordan. They possess all the hill country.
So we was victorious. We was victorious. The Lord was with us in these battles. Listen, this is the Lord being with us, being with Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians. This is the Lord not turning his back on us. You understand? All this power, remember in the Apocrypha, in Ecclesiasticus, it says that strength coming from heaven. This is where our strength came from, the Most High God. When the Most High God is on our side, that strength comes from the Most High. It comes from heaven. Read on.
Verse 16. And they cast forth before them the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Jerusites, and the Sidonites.
All these are other nations. Read on.
And all the Gergesites, and they dwell in that country many days. Verse 17. And Willis, they sinned not before their God.
Now, this is very important. You understand? This is very important that our people got to hear and understand. Key point. Very important. Read that 17th verse again about Kasha.
God, Judah, chapter 5, verse 17. And Willis, they sinned not.
And whilst they sin not, we didn't commit no sin before the Lord. We wasn't committing adultery. We wasn't in the LGBTQ. We wasn't eating pork, crab, lobster, and shrimp. We wasn't getting shape-ups and tattoos. We wasn't having abortions. We wasn't committing murder. You understand? We wasn't dealing incorrectly with one another. We was doing the right thing. Following these law, statutes, commandments. Read on.
Come before their God, they
prospered.
They prospered.
They did what?
Prosper.
They what?
Prosper.
They what?
Prosper.
They prospered. Excel. Was victorious, triumphant. We prospered. We grew. We multiplied. We became fruitful and we multiplied. Read on.
Because the God that hateth iniquity.
Because the God that what?
Hateth iniquity.
Because the God that what?
Hateth iniquity.
Iniquity is what? Sin. God hates sin. Read on.
Was with them.
Was what?
Was with them.
Was with them. You see? So, this brother, what's his name? Rodney?
Oh, yeah. Rodney Hilton.
Rodney Hinton? If he's with the Lord, man, he didn't have to go in his car and run over that police officer, man. We got to follow these laws, statutes, commandments so the Lord can fight back on our oppression. Now this man's sitting in prison, man. Read on.
Come. Judah chapter 5 verse 18.
Read on.
But when they did depart from the way.
But when we did what?
Depart from the way.
But when they departed from the way, read on.
Which he appointed them.
Which he appointed them. Which way the Lord appoints us to be a separate people, to be a righteous and a holy people, to follow his law, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
They were destroyed.
They were what?
They were destroyed.
Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians were what?
Were destroyed.
We were destroyed, man. We were cast into prison. We were unalive. We overdosed. We went in captivity. We became on the bottom of the other nations. The Most High destroyed us, man, because we departed from the Lord. Read on.
In many battles, very sore.
In many what?
In many battles, very sore.
What does that mean? We lost all our battles. We lost the battle on drug addiction. You understand what I'm saying? We lost the battle on these mental illnesses that we challenge. We lost the battle of gang violence and drugs. And know that there is to destroy us. Where's our help? Who's going to help us? Not the Christian church. But when you return to the Lord is going to fight your battles. You understand? So many brothers and sisters here in HADQUARTERS, we came from many walks of life. And we won our battle. What? Not by our own hands, by doing what the Most High wants us to do and follow these law, statutes, commandments, and getting right with the Lord. And the Lord, you understand, fought our battles. Got us off of drugs. Got us off of these streets. Got sisters off of whoredom. Got brothers off of dealing drugs and games. Read on.
Come. And were led captive.
And what?
And were led captive.
And we were led captives, man. As we are today. Read on.
Into a land that was not theirs.
Into a what?
Land that was not theirs.
Into a land that was not theirs. What's our land? Our land is Jerusalem. You understand? We are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Read on.
Come. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground.
And the temple of our God was cast to the ground. Read on.
Come.
Meaning that they're ransacked out, you know what I'm saying? In 70 AD, they destroyed our land, ransacked us and ran us out. The whole history behind that. You understand? Even you talk when we go into the Maccabees, you understand? And it tells you how the Maccabees brothers fought to restore our temple. They desecrated our temples and our worshiping place where we worship the Most High. Read on.
And their cities were taken by the enemies.
And our cities were taken by the enemies. Just like how today, our neighborhoods, man, taken by the enemies, man. Listen, man, you got gentrification here on a high level, man. Gentrification in places where you thought there would always be predominantly Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians. And the law enforcement coming into your neighborhoods and unaliving your children, man. Read on.
Come. Let me see here. Oh, it's locked in. There we go.
Read on.
Oh, here. Verse 19. But now are they returned to their God.
But now what?
They returned to their God.
But now, since 1969, under Commander General Yohana, we return back to our God, following his law, statutes, commandments, understanding who he is and what he requires of us. Being remembered who our brother and our sisters are. You understand what I'm saying? Honoring our King Yahweh Shai. showing the world that we're not just criminals and cutthroats and thieves like how the other nations taught us how to do. But we return back to our God, you know,
and are come up from the place where they were scattered.
And then what?
And come up from the place where they were scattered.
And we got reunited with one another. They came up out of the place where they were scattered. You understand? There's so many brothers here in HADQUARTERS. We got brothers in the UK, brothers in Mexico, brothers in Honduras, brothers in Jamaica, brothers in Trinidad, brothers in Jamaica, brothers here in New York, brothers in Chicago, brothers in Philly, South Africa. Hey, South Africa.
Brother came to the school a few times.
Damn right. I know, yeah.
You know who we're talking about.
You know what I'm saying? And even though we're not apart, even though we're not together physically, we're in one mind and one accord according to this truth. Here in the ISUBK doctrine. Serving the Most High. Read on.
Come and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is.
Read on.
And are seated in the hill country.
Read on.
For it was desolated.
Read on.
We got we got Judah, chapter 5, verse 20. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people.
Now listen, man, this is our core, man. You know what I'm saying? And he's a captain. And he's telling, you understand, this host that, listen, man, if there's any error in this nation of Israel, these Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians. Read on.
And they sin against their God.
And they do what?
Sin against their God.
And they sin against their God. Read on.
Let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
Let us consider that this shall be their ruin. In other words, let's take advantage of this opportunity to overtake them and destroy them. Their defense is down. Who's our defense? Our defense is the Most High God, His army of hosts. When we err against the Most High God, that's when we become vulnerable, man. And that's how they overtake us. Because physically, on a one-on-one, man, we're strong. That's why Christ said, how can a strong man be bound? I'm paraphrasing. You understand? How can a good man, how can a man be bound in his house? And his spoils be destroyed, and his possession be destroyed. I'm paraphrasing. That's when you decide to depart from the Lord, man. That's how the enemy will destroy you. Read on.
Come and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
And we shall do what?
Overcome them.
And we shall defeat them. Why? Because the Lord is not with us. Read on.
Come. On Judah, chapter 5, verse 21. But if there be no iniquity.
But if there be what?
No iniquity.
But there be what?
No iniquity.
But if there be no sin. Iniquity means sin. Sin is the transgression of the law. When you break the law, statutes, commandments. Read on.
In their nation.
And their what?
In their nation.
No, and everybody.
In their nation.
In their nation, our nation. Read on.
Let my Lord now pass by.
Let my what?
Lord now pass by.
Let my Lord now pass by. Read on.
Lest their Lord defend them.
Lest their Lord do what?
Defend them.
Lest their Lord defend them. If Rodney, damn, I forget his brother's name, man.
Hinton.
If Rodney Hinton was with the Lord, and so many of us is not with the Lord, man. That's why these ISUBK, you understand, this school, the ISUBK, is very important. so that we won't be put in a predicament like this brother Rodney King, so that his son won't be unalive, man.
Rodney Hinton.
Rodney King. Rodney Hinton. And his son Ryan Hinton.
Yeah, Junior.
You understand what I'm saying? We lost two brothers, man. We out two brothers. But if he was with the Lord, man, the Lord would have got vengeance for us. We have to say, we don't have to lift up a stick.
That's right.
We don't have to lift up a rock. We don't have to get a gun. But if we serve the Lord, man, the Lord would move on them, man. The Lord wouldn't be silent. Why do you think King David said, be not silent? The Lord is silent because we're not right. So the Lord is not going to move swift like King David wants the Lord to move swift. Read on.
Come.
What verse we at?
We on verse 21, almost at the end.
Come.
And their God be with them.
And their what?
God be with them.
And their God be with them. Read on.
Oh, it's like, and their God be for them.
And their God be for them. Read on.
And we become a reproach before all the world.
Right. Read on.
Verse 20. We got Judah, chapter 5, verse 22. And now, when a child had finished these saying, all the people standing around about the tent murmured.
They start to murmur. What? Word? You mean to tell me if they with the Lord will be with them? Or if they're not with the Lord, we could defeat them? Read on.
And the chief men of Halifax and all that dwelleth by the seaside and in Moab spake that he should kill him.
That he should what?
Kill him.
That he should kill him. Like, God damn, man, he know too much. Read on.
Come. Verse 23. For saying they.
For say they. Read on.
For say they, we will not be afraid of the face of the children of Israel.
Read on.
For lo, it is a people that have no strength nor power for a strong battle.
Read on.
Verse 24. Now, therefore, Lord,
Furnace.
Furnace, we will go up, and they shall be a prey to be devoured of all thy army.
And this is so powerful. They killed the cat that was putting him on game. They killed the cat that was putting him on game. Like, oh, shut this nigga up. We're gonna do what we want to do anyway.
That's right.
And that's how the white man is. You understand? And that's how Pharaoh was when we was in Egypt. And that's why Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indian, we gotta come together and serve the Lord so the Lord could defend us. So the Lord could bring Christ and destroy this place. So that brothers like Rodney Hinton, you understand, and young brothers like Ryan Hinton won't be taken away from us. So many Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indian brothers and sisters and the children is taken away from us because of our disobedience. We don't have to do it in our own hands, man. We have to serve the Lord, and the Lord would fight for us, man. This is going to have to be a part 2, Lord's willing. I just want to go to one more scripture, and that's what thou shalt not kill. You got something to say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the brother with the he had a question.
Yeah, brother with a question.
Let's read the brother's question.
Yeah, he said, you got Leonard Jr. Salakia, sir, if I may ask, is someone who received SSI benefits required to pay tithes?
That's what Social Security income?
Yes.
You understand? Now, how do you get that in? You get that in funds, right? You get that in dollars?
You get a card or the dollars. Yeah.
A card dollars. Well, from the card, can you transfer and get physical money? Yes, you can. What did the Lord say? From every penny of any increase. You understand? You gotta pay tithes, 10% of every penny the Lord increase you with. So that question would be yes, because what? That's the Lord having mercy on you for you to give you funds so that you can survive, so that you can take care of bills and your personal needs and whatnot. You understand? When we don't give the Lord tithes, that's a selfish act. You're robbing the nation. You understand? Because now, when a nation is in need, those tithes take care of the need of the Lord of the nation. So my question is yes. Salakia, my answer is yes. You do have to pay tithes. That's an excellent question. For those who may not know, is every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Pay tithes, 10% of your earnings. So in other words, if you get $10, you will pay what? $1. That's
right.
You understand? If you get paid $20, that's $2. If you get paid $100, that's $10. If you get paid $1,000, that's what? $100. You understand? And there's also like certain apps and things online where you can calculate the money that you get, and it will break down the tithes. I personally do it myself. You understand what I'm saying? There's a link on in the internet. Google will tell you how to pay tithes. You put in how much you get, the goddamn computer's gonna break it down. You pay this much tithes. You understand? Or you can go to isupk.com, and that's how you pay for your tithes. Or if you're in the neighborhood school, you put your tithes in an envelope. You understand? Lock it and put your name, your rank, how much it is, and the dates. Okay? Let me just go to one more scripture before I leave.
What is the scripture?
It's a part 2 to this class.
Yes, it is.
Because I have a whole bunch of laws on how we're not supposed to commit murder. Murder is a wrong thing. I say murder for teaching purposes, but murder is unlawful according to the Bible. You understand? Murder is when you unjustly unalive someone without a probable cause. You understand? Which should be taken up.
What scripture you want?
Hold on. Oh man, I'm way over Salafi. Let me just get this one right here. Okay, Exodus 20 and 13. There's a whole list that I'm going to go through over next week, Lord's willing. It's going to be a part 2, Lord's willing. But let's just go to Exodus chapter 20, verse 13.
All right. Exodus chapter 20, verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not what?
Kill.
Thou shalt not what?
Kill.
Oh, wait a minute. But wait a minute. Okay, thou shalt not kill, but how many of y'all love like eating oxtail? Ooh wee. Hamburger. You understand? Goat, curry goats. You know, a nice whitening fish sandwich. You understand what I'm saying? Or any lawful clean land animal or fish under the sea. If it's lawful, how many of y'all love? I do. I love your oxen. Don't you have to kill the ox? Don't you have to kill the goat? Don't you have to kill the fish? So what does it mean by kill in this context? Because it says thou shalt not kill. You understand? Somebody could take this and be like, oh, I'm not supposed to kill a fish or a goat. You need to kill an animal if you're a carnivore, if you eat meat. But in this context, it's talking about murder. Thou shalt not kill, meaning thou shalt not murder. Right? Let's look up the word murder in the Bible, Zion Advanced Bible Dictionary.
The Bible Van Dictionary on page You're going to look up the definition of murder. You see here on page 561. Murder. From the day of Noah.
From the days of who?
Noah.
Read on.
The biblical
just try
to for murder was death.
Was what?
Was death.
Was what?
Was death.
The penalty for murder was what?
Death.
The penalty for murder was death. This goes back to the days of Noah. Read on.
Whosoever sheddeth man's blood.
Whosoever sheddeth man's blood. Read on.
By men shall his blood be shed.
By men shall his blood shed. So normally a priest would get the advantage. You understand? This would go into a hand of a priest to execute the vengeance. You understand? The penalty, I should say. Read on. The judgment. Read on.
Genesis chapter 9, verse 6.
Read on.
Throughout the Old Testament times, the ancient Semitic custom of the revenge of blood was followed. A murderer man, nearest relative, the gold, had the duty to pursue the slayer and kill him.
Right, read on.
Nahum, chapter 35, verse 19.
Read on.
Since in the practice of avenging blood in this fashion,
in this what?
In this fashion, men fail to distinguish between murder and manslaughter.
Right. Read on.
And thus, Venice.
Read on.
But blood feud,
right,
would frequently arise. The Mosaic law provide for cities of refuge.
Cities of what?
Refuge.
Cities of what?
Refuge.
Cities of refuge. You understand? This is something that I taught about before. You understand? Is when, let's say that your brother was slain by a man, right? Now, his brother that's alive would go out to sort your life. Now, the brother who slayed your brother will go into the 6 cities of refuge until this matter can be squared off with. You understand? Until this matter could be resolved. Any more of that?
Con. It said city of refuge. That's in Nahum chapter 35.
Right. I'm gonna have to teach that class. All right. So basically, let me just read the Google translation of murder. Murder. The unlawful, premeditated killing of one human being by another. Killing, homicide, assassination, extermination, execution, slaughter, manslaughter. You understand? And this, unfortunately, is what his brother Rodney Hinton did for his lack of understanding. You understand? And that's why the HADQUARTERS under Commander General Yohana is very important for Black, Hispanic, and Native North American Indians so that we can get our minds out of this society, because this society runs on their emotions. We got to start living according to the Most High God. And with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Priest and Officer of 1,000, Officer Paratazar.
Clap it up for the fix that. Okay, got me back on. HADQUARTERS security announcements. We are the HADQUARTERS, start off for 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Let me say, rules for a new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister come into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister having interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Ties, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10, mean 10 in the Hebrew Ma'asharim. 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High give you is the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Holy Convocation is the Feast of Weeks, right?
The end of the Feast of First Fruits.
Oh, the end of Feast of First Fruits, lock it. Go to HADQUARTERS.com, scroll down, and look for the date for the Feast of First Fruits. For if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, Many Israel, we're gonna give one courtesy salute. Many Israel Amajum, which means to stand. Many Israel Mashabah, Amajum, Barak, Yahbashim Yasharak, Yazmatah. Many Israel, we're gonna give one courtesy salute to the sisters that's in the chat. Many Israel Mashabah, Amajum, Barak, Yahweh Shemar Bashim Yashar. Yazmatah. Class dismissed.
There's a chunk